إن كلام بارت ايرمان أكثر انضباطا وأكثر قوة وأكثر إقناعا. ما تجيب مثال أكثر واقعية زي أمثلة بارت ايرمان، زي الكلام اللي بيطرحه بارت ايرمان في كتبه.
How much can we be sure about the crucifixion of Jesus and whether he was indeed crucified?
Right. I know in Islam the teaching is that he was not actually crucified. I think on a historical basis, Jesus was absolutely crucified. I think that there is, as a historian, there's almost no doubt about that. And in case your audience doesn't know, I don't identify as a Christian. I mean, I was raised a Christian, but I'm an atheist now. I don't have a particular stake in any of this information personally. But I think the crucifixion of Jesus is probably the best attested, one of the best attested events of his life. It's found all over the place in our early sources. It's even mentioned by non-Christian sources, and it's a kind of a complicated thing for me to argue. Although I can at length, if somebody wants me to, it's not the kind of thing that Christians would have made up about him if they wanted to make up legends. If they wanted to make up something about Jesus, it wouldn't be that he got killed by the enemy.
إن كلام بارت ايرمان أكثر انضباطا وأكثر قوة وأكثر إقناعا.
So Jesus certainly exists. Okay, what can we know about him? Well, of the scholars that study him, and keep in mind there is an entire area of historical studies called historical Jesus studies. So we have scholars who've been studying this on all sides. These aren't all Christians by any means. Actually, the most influential ones wouldn't align themselves with Orthodox Christianity. You have people like Paula Fredrickson, Marcus Borg, Bart Ehrman. You have people along these lines who would say, like John Dominic Crossan, who would say that of Jesus we can know for a fact that he died on the cross. Now keep in mind, that's one of our 3 points that we're proving for Christianity or attempting to show to determine its reliability. Did Jesus die on the cross? The scholars who study his life, regardless of whether they're atheist, Buddhist, agnostic, Hindu, Christian, it doesn't matter. They all conclude that Jesus died on the cross. Now, if I left it there, it would be an appeal to authority, and we're trying to be academically rigorous tonight, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you some of their reasons why they believe Jesus died on the cross, but we're going to keep it brief because scholars are unanimous on this issue. By the way, it's not just them. Even Muslim scholars will argue that Jesus did die on the cross. How many of you heard of Reza Aslan's book recently, Zealots, that came out this year? A few of you? Reza Aslan's a scholar who has studied the historical Jesus. And as a Muslim, he says, yes, Islam denies Jesus' death on the cross, and I am a Muslim, but I confirm that Jesus' death on the cross is historically certain. In fact, he builds his whole book off the fact that Jesus died on the cross. So even as a Muslim, he says Jesus died on the cross. So why? Why do they say this? Well, because first off, all the evidence that we have, all the records of Jesus' life which talk about his death indicate that he did die. If they say anything, it says that he did die on the cross under Pontius Pilate, which is why Paula Fredrickson says, if there's anything we can know about Jesus, anything at all, it's this, that he died on the cross under Pontius Pilate. If you go away from Christian records, you go to Jewish records like Josephus, we can also see in the first century that non-Christians are saying Jesus died on the cross. We go to Gentile scholars, they are also agreeing that Jesus died on the cross. And in fact, we also have some of them saying that these people believe he is risen from the dead. We'll get to that in just a moment. So we have excellent reason to believe Jesus died on the cross because all the records point to that. Plus, if you study the historical process of crucifixion, nobody ever in the entire history of the Roman process of crucifixion, no one ever survived a full Roman crucifixion.